the Brains Trust, introduced by the question master, answering any question.
Due to popular demand, the boys are back for another Mitre 10 Cup pod, joined by the most capped current fly half in the competition, Scooter, and the Fott, Jeremy Boyle. Welcome back. How are you going, Eyes?
Oh, good, mate. Good to be back behind the mic after a few people have hit us up. So
yeah, did you enjoy that the feedback or the amount of votes on our poll on Instagram? Did it make you feel quite good?
Yeah. I mean, it's good to see a few people saying that they want to hear us, but
yeah,
was it five people? Was it 5 people?
Yeah. No,
that's enough.
We'll give them a spray at the end.
Good to be back.
Scott, mate, boys are going well. Pod's going pretty good. You must be happy.
Oh yeah, not too bad, mate. Would have been good to be 2-0, but yeah, all in all, not a bad start from where we've been at in previous years, as people have pointed out. So it'd be good to get a couple of people in the gate at Rugby Park this week, mate. Hope for a good day.
We'll definitely get to that. Country going back to level 1, most of it. What we'll do, same format, a few headlines, get your thoughts, and then we'll move into sort of how the Staggies are going and finish with a bit of how the Prem and the Champ are running and sort of how that might play out. So first headline we'll get into, fellas. Breaking news, obviously, while I was asleep, I've just been pointed out. It looks like the ABs may have to quarantine over Christmas, when initially they weren't going to have to. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. What are your thoughts on that, mate? As a player, you pissed off, or you're sort of just part of the job?
No, I'd be pretty toey because I'm pretty sure a lot of those guys have been given, especially the guys with young families, have been given assurances that they would not be quarantining over Christmas, and now it looks like, obviously, the news came out today that they are. So I'd imagine that the NZRU will be in discussions with the government to try and get around that, but it feels like they're probably, I'd say the NZRU feel like they've been stabbed in the back a wee bit by the Aussie Rugby Union, maybe getting a wee bit back for everything that's been going on. But yeah, I think they'll get it remedied, but at the moment it doesn't look great for that last game in particular.
Yeah. Scott, as a fan, if a few boys were a toey, as Eyes pointed out, and sort of pulled out of that due to sort of a bit like the Warriors, I've got families here, I can't leave them for that long. Does that A, annoy you as a fan, I guess, and B, does it ruin the integrity of the competition?
Personally, doesn't annoy me as a fan. Like, obviously, if they've got young kids, and that is what it is. But the integrity, potentially, if there was quite a few, like if you got your big dogs out, say 5 of your best 10 players not playing. Say South Africa looks like their injury list. This is obviously injury enforced, but they got a few of their big dogs not playing due to injury. All of a sudden, it's not potentially what it was going to be. So, yeah, I could see both sides of it. Like, read a few articles this afternoon on it, and there's a bit of an argument, dollar each way, really. Like, some people arguing like, look, the Black Caps spend their Christmas Day every year, either in another city or another country. So I guess is that way to look at it. But yeah, pretty tough gig all around. I'm sure they'll make it work. Like, whether it's some of them have to come back after the Argentina game, they might do something like that. But yeah, I can't see the government bending, or whoever the government is bending to a team of rugby players getting out early. It wouldn't. I can't imagine it would make the public very happy.
No, I guess it's not uncommon for sports teams to even play on Christmas Day. You look at the NBA with their Christmas Day specials; it's a huge thing. And then there's a shitload of Boxing Day sport going on. There's a good documentary out. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's the All or Nothing for Tottenham Hotspur, and they have Christmas morning, and then they've got a report to training at sort of 1 p.m. on Christmas Day. So there's a lot of people that do it. Different money involved. I understand that.
But and also you're aware of that going into the season that's your big day, or that is a big day. So it's different when you get sprung on you a couple of months out. So hey, you actually won't be home for Christmas. So
true.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah.
All right. So the other news, obviously, recently crowds are allowed back at games, back into level 1. Obviously, for home games, that's it goes without saying, revenue stream, supporting the boys, it's good. There's one interesting debate over here at the moment. So the EPL, the Premier League's just kicked off, and through the first 15 games, there's been 10 away victories, which is sort of unheard of. And they're putting that down to sort of the crowd's not there just spraying the visiting teams and getting up them and things like that. So I guess the closest thing we've got to that here is you, Scotty, up in Bop last week. What was that like?
Yeah, I can see their point there. It was pretty quiet, to be fair. Those who've been at Rotorua International Stadium know it's a pretty big sort of bowl. It's like a fish bowl almost, sort of ground. So there was probably a couple of hundred up in the top of the grandstand. I guess you call it the corporate area. But apart from that, she was empty. So I guess we were lucky we'd had that home game. Or to be fair, we probably had 400 or 500 at Rugby Park that first week. But yeah, it was pretty quiet, and I can see how it does probably give the away team probably a little bit of a advantage. Like we've talked about trying to make our own energy. Because generally when you got 3,000-5,000 people there, you do feed off it, like no matter what people say. So I reckon it actually does play quite a part. Me personally.
Well, even if you make like a little mistake, knock on or a forward pass, it probably helps. You don't have someone getting right up there straight away. Like you can just move on a bit quicker than if you've got the cheering at your mistake and things like that.
Absolutely. Just we actually had Waikato playing Bay of Plenty, bit of Parma Cup action.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, Elena Soili, Southland, she was playing. But anyway, it was fair to say there was probably, I think you'd say all the DDs were in the crowd, and geez, they made some noise. They made up for the fact there was probably 20 people in the crowd. Sound like about 200.
Well,
so.
for the listeners that don't know what a DD is, Scotty, do you want to elaborate on
dirty.
that?
So that would have been some of the girls or ladies who weren't in the playing 23. So if you don't make the match day team, you're a DD. You're in the grandstand watching, potentially souping, or maybe in the corporate area schmoozing a few sponsors. So.
Nice. And I guess from a fan's point of view, Jeremy, you'll be stoked at the news. Back to level 1, you'll begin to Rugby Park as soon as possible.
I'm actually not going to be there this weekend. I'm in Christchurch playing golf, but I'd be very surprised if it's not Southland's best crowd in maybe 4 or 5 years. Like I think I'm not 100 what the weather's going to do, and wouldn't surprise me if it absolutely teams down, but. I think there'll be a really good showing at Rugby Park because there's a bit of a different energy down here, I guess, in supporting the Stags at the moment in the first 2 performances. So I think it'll be quite a vocal crowd as well. And I think it's a Saturday Arvo game, is it? So
yeah, 4:30, great time.
Yeah. So I think there'll be a few people
ideal.
coming off the back fence there.
Where are you playing in Christchurch, mate? What course?
Pegasus and Shirley.
Oh, Pegasus is top notch. A lot of water though. A lot of water.
Yeah, that's going to be good for my power source.
A few golf tournaments on this week, is there, boy? I understand a former Stags player is also he's chucking the clubs around in Dunedin. Or is that correct?
I think he's in Airtown.
Oh, Airtown.
maybe.
Sorry, Airtown.
Yeah.
One Marty McKenzie tells me he's not coming to support the boys. Got other commitments. So
Right, he was supposed to be in the final of our fantasy comp this week, but he got an early holiday. We'll move on. Next headline. Sort of during the week, Nathan Brown, incoming Warriors coach, bit of a cryptic message to the media. Sort of suggested that RTS could be playing rugby union next year. So he come out and said, if we're based in Australia, I'm going to really think about having a year in Auckland for the Blues. It looks like he's not going there, but still, we'll speculate. I think he's staying at the Warriors. If he did come and play for the Blues, where do you think he'd play, first of all, position-wise, and how far do you think he'd go? Jeremy?
Left wing. I think he's a left winger. I can't see him being a fullback because I'm not too sure what his fullbacks need to have, get a bit of a mix for kicking game and obviously a counter-attack.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and he's got a really good left foot step, so that's why he's on the left wing. To be fair, from what I've heard, I guess, about him as a player and as a person and how driven he is, I would say he could probably become an all-black. Like, I don't see any reason why he couldn't if maybe 2 years back in footy. And it's not like when Benji Marshall came over going into 10 where it's a really tough specialised position.
Yeah.
Like you're going onto the wing where it's not too dissimilar. Obviously, there's a few different positional things with the wing, but I don't see any reason why he couldn't be an All Black if he actually stuck it out here and played. But as you said, I think he may be sticking around with the Wombats, which is good for them. But yeah.
A fair shout. Scotty, what are your thoughts there, pal?
Oh, I agree, to be fair. He'd be an All Black priority done quickly, I reckon. I reckon give him a year. Obviously, yeah, agree, left wing, definitely a winger, but potentially could be able to move into 13 once he sort of got back in the groove, maybe a year or two. And obviously, like he's not old at the moment, but if he's stuck around in footy, maybe 2 years, maybe a Rico type situation, moves into 13. Yeah. Could cause a few headaches at the Blues if Rico's still carving at 13, but he might have to move him 1 to 12. But yeah, I think it'd be no dramas him making the All Blacks. Like I said, he's pretty unreal talent and pretty driven.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I didn't actually think about him as a 13. I sort of went for the wing fullback approach.
He played there at school. He played 13, didn't he? I watched a video of him on Facebook the other day, and he was playing.
He's quite solid as well, like in terms of his physical size.
It's a good defender at fullback. Like, even in the last line, he doesn't miss many. And he actually
I think schoolboy 13s are there just to attack, right? Like they're not passing.
Yeah, it's fresh out.
If he at the next level, he's got to have that passing. He probably doesn't pass much for the bats either. I don't think.
Wow, it doesn't.
Few second man plays.
Yeah. Every time he passes it to someone over the line, they drop it. So like,
why would you pass it?
No.
No, it looks like he's going to stay at the bats though, which is good for them. They've got a few good signings, and Gus Gould obviously is going to be a big factor. So. Do we say?
How good's Gus been on the book lately?
Oh,
all time.
Yeah,
he cruises with the boys.
Is that genuinely him?
Nah, it's just someone cheating up, I think. But fuck, it's good.
Shit.
I would.
Hard to know what's fake and what's true on Facebook these days, mate.
Oh, mate, absolutely. So Jimmy Haskell in the headlines at the moment. Released a book over here about his career and things, and there's one particular evening in Queenstown that's made some headlines over here about him and some English players and getting souped up and being accused of tossing midgets. Has that had any traction over your way, Jeremy?
I've heard the yarn before, and apparently, well, from obviously what he said, there's not much to it. They've kind of been stitched up. It sounds like, obviously, with the English media, everything's a bit more drummed up. But by his account, the Welsh and the Irish teams were behaving a lot worse in the altitude and Queenstown, where I think we've all been to before. But yeah, I don't think there's too much in it.
No.
Obviously, I think it was Mike Tyndall who got chucked under the bus.
Yeah, he's playing up.
Talking to some blonde bird all night, and he was. He's obviously married at the time to, was it Zara Phillips?
Zara not happy.
Yeah.
So, I think it was just the English media drum up, but it's good to probably get some clear air on it. Not that it really matters.
Scott, you got any thoughts on the tossing the midgets?
Nah, it's all good stuff. But
yeah,
I guess you look back at that, probably have a bit of a laugh. They actually, those lads do a pretty good pod. I see they've just put the latest one out, actually talking about that book. James Haskell and Mike Tyndall. So, big fans, to be fair.
That part of the world obviously made an impression on Hass because he signed with the Landers the next year. So
he got into a dust up on the Mad Monday, didn't he?
Possibly.
just real quick, just going way off topic here, but have you going back to club rugby land? Have you guys seen anything on Facebook pop up around this Frankton Vikings Rugby Club 2021?
Yeah, I've seen that. Finn reckons it's all Ben Finn, so mate used to manage Airtown, reckons there's not much in it, but
just a guy stirring the pot.
Yeah, I think so.
Queenstown needs another club, he reckons. Whoever it is.
To be fair, it wouldn't be bad based out of the event centre. Like, pretty good setup there. I'm not sure if there's enough players to facilitate it, but
I heard. Well, speaking of new franchise rumours, Jeremy, I heard. I'll throw Droz under the bus here. Drozzy reckons there's a few of your mates, old really good players, might be heading to a senior team or a Div 2 club next year.
There's been a bit of there's been a bit of chat, I guess, that the boys, I guess some of my mates and my wider group of mates would like to play 1 year of senior footy together.
The last hurrah.
Last hurrah. And truth be told, I can't see it going ahead, but once the boys get a few beers under the belt and start to, fuck, it'd be good, that sort of thing. But,
Drozzy's,
I mean, Drozzy said he'd come back, and I don't know who would be making his tackles.
He said they'd have like a Ferrari backline, but he has no idea where they'll get the depth and the tight five from to compete.
Oh, Kenzie's doing some heavy lifting up front. That might be his return.
Jeez.
All right, yeah, good sidetrack there, Scotty. I rate it. Next on the headline list, Super Rugby format. It's probably getting too late now in the piece to add teams, so it's looking like it's going to be the same 5, maybe 3 full rounds this time. I saw 13, 14 fixtures. I guess Scotty, as a Landers fan, I mean, still hope you might make it one day again. But what are your thoughts there, pal?
I think those days are behind me, mate. But anyway, 5 teams. Agreed, mate. 5 teams. Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? Like, they're going to have to go. They can't really do much else. Like, been a bit of talk about Pacifica team and a 6 team, but realistically, are they going to get themselves in 5 months up to scratch playing?
Nah.
Those 5 teams, no chance. So, 2022, like, hopefully they announce if there's a 6 team, whether it's Pacifica or whatever it is, get them ready for 2022. So then they've got over a year to get ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, like 3 rounds, the only thing I'd say with 3 rounds is, are you having a final? Are you just going to do it like EPL styles, or do you just have a final? I think you can't have semis. I think you've just got to have
No, I mean, we've talked
imagine
about...
how good it would have been this year if it was Blues Canterbury.
Yeah.
Was that what it would have been? Or was it Hurricanes?
Hurricanes might have been. No, Hurricanes got pumped in that last game.
The Landers.
Oh, the Landers, yeah, true.
But yeah, I think it's either, a final would be pretty good, but yeah, there's got to be straight 1v2.
Absolutely.
Third round may become a little bit tedious, like say the Crusaders go unbeaten, but it is what it is. They got to generate income and play footy, 100%. So it is what it is.
Do you think it'll work better if there was 6 teams, 2 rounds, or because then there's no buys then, that's the only thing. I think the buy actually works out well in terms of giving these teams a restart.
Recovery. I think
a month of pretty hard footy.
Yeah. I think the buy's good for recovery. I would say it's niggly in other aspects. But
could you stagger it where you have 2 games a weekend, but 2 teams are having buys? I don't know. Is that a way of potentially staggering it? Because I do agree that teams need a buy.
Yeah.
But I think there still needs to be, people still want to watch good level footy. I don't know.
Yeah.
What we've talked about this on the club rugby pods, where when we hit in Southland, when we had the 3 rounds, how it got fucking pretty stale. Sure. After a while, people were locked into positions pretty early, so you had a bit of nothing games. What about 2 rounds, and then have a couple of bye weekends where you have a couple of maybe 2 or 3 north-south games again? You reckon that could work?
Yeah, I guess there's no real buy then. Well, there is a buy, but those top level guys are still playing, so I guess those guys don't get the rest.
It's still a shorter season.
Yeah, true.
Than a normal super.
Because 5 teams, 2 rounds. It's only 8 games of footy, isn't it? Like it's it's not actually that many games when you think of it like that. 3 rounds is 12 games, which is still probably it's probably an ideal number. 12 games with 3 buys. I don't think the number of games is a problem here for me. Like 12's good. I think it's the repetitive nature of it. So the third time the Landers, it's good to get up for the Crusaders once a year, but if it's 3 times, you kind of like, and you play them, and you play them in pre-season.
Yeah.
It's like Maris playing Woodlands, mate. Every 5 times.
And then if you want your final, Scotty, you're looking at that potential 5 times in the year, which is fucking shit.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
Oh, well, watch this space. I think there's a chance to be creative with it, so look forward to that. Moving on, extra point, ITM Cup. Saw the situation with you boys, actually. I didn't know the rule. So when...
Join the club.
Yeah. Well,
Join the fucking club.
the commentators were pumping up Lambourne at the time. They sort of thought, oh, the Southland boys have read the rule book here, because I was blowing up. I was like, why? Like, this is a Prem team. Take the 2 points, draw. But I didn't realise it would have gone to extra point. And you need to get yourself into that scoring position anyway. So definitely back yourself going for the win. But I didn't know. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like you guys
I don't
deserve
think a lot
2
of people
points. No.
So do you think that if
Including
you draw
me.
full time, you should get 2 points regardless? And then
I don't think there should be extra time.
okay, sweet. But being that there is extra time, do
Yeah.
you think you should get? So if you lose an extra time, you should get 2 points because you drew it full time.
Well, there's been that debate for years in the NRL with Golden Point,
Yeah.
but it was never the full 2 points. I think it was
There
like,
should be 1 point.
yeah, the team
If
that
the
wins,
gets 2, and the
Yeah.
and the team that draws it full
Yeah.
time should get 1 in the NRL. Whereas something similar should probably work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, Scotty, as a player, you didn't know with 3 minutes to go that you
Well,
there was extra time?
8 minutes to go, and we
8
got that
minutes?
first penalty. 8.5.
Yeah.
Personally, I didn't know. To my knowledge, the other boys didn't know. I might need to be corrected on that, but first I knew of it was when I obviously came off. Old Dick Smith sort of chucked away a comment about Golden Point, and I thought he was sort of just taking the piss, but obviously
right.
not. So,
That's interesting.
obviously, in terms of been a bit of talk about boys taking the shot, should have taken the shot. There was a conversation.
Hindsight's
And
2020.
the boys backed the call. We had to be down there the whole half. There was still 8 minutes to go. So, we kicked that over. We still got 7 minutes to get back down there. Hold on. We thought we had a good feeling. To be fair, that second maul, we fucking all but got over the line. If it wasn't for a Bay of Plenty infringement, but that's another. Won't talk any more about that. But we still had a couple of chances we didn't take ourselves. So, hey.
Yeah, right.
Any other day, it could have been a 21-17 victory, mate.
Oh,
But hey,
absolutely.
that's the dice you roll. That's the dice you roll. Could have taken the shot 17-all, but
Yeah, that's really interesting that you guys didn't know. It's not a.
I don't reckon fucking many teams would have known.
No.
I genuinely don't think many teams would have much for
It was really interesting as a fan watching. The commentators were I don't know if you wouldn't have watched it back, Scotty, but they were really pumping up Lambourne. Well, the Stags, they've read the rule book here. They know that 3 points not enough. Going for the corner. Or in hindsight, you just
well, in that case, I did know.
Well, the next part of my question.
Lambourne. I haven't talked that much to Lambourne about it. So hey, he may have known. May have known something I didn't. So.
Well, the next part of my question is, do you like it as a thing, and do you like it that it's Golden Point, not Golden Try?
Personally, no. Like, 80 minutes, and then you got to go. And was it another 10? Like,
20. Isn't it? Or
potentially 20, or is it 20? Like,
it might be 10.
Jesus,
I'm thinking of extra time.
And I'm just, this is purely from a player's point of view. Like, say if you got a short turnaround, not to say that you're going to have that every week, but if you had a 5-day turnaround and you have to play 100 minutes and it's a fucking absolute battle, like, fuck, you're pretty disadvantaged going in the next week. Like, 20 minutes in rugby is a fucking long time, and especially on your forwards. Like, anyway, but there's other angles to look at it.
It's a pretty condensed comp as it is, and there's not huge depth in some of the smaller franchises, so you can't afford that extra fatigue, the extra chance of injury potentially, because it could have long-term poor effects.
I understand they're trying to create more of a spectacle and a bit more dramatization, and that's all good stuff. Like, not against that, but
has that been a flow-on effect from the Super Rule?
Must have been
trials. So is it the red card?
It's a red card thing, yeah.
Is it 20 minutes and then bring someone else in?
Might have to read the rule book.
I was going to say, asking the wrong guy.
Because I have not read it. That might be my job tomorrow before the game. So
good to know.
Do you think though, if it was going to be, I think this is where you were going earlier, Bryce. If it's going to be extra time or golden point? Do you think it should be golden try? Or because in NRL, nothing fucks you off more when they're building. They just build to a point,
Yeah.
take a field goal.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you know.
Yes, there's 2 points to that. I think a golden try is fairer because it'll end up in more draws because it's going to be harder to score those tries in extra time. So you're going to split the points more, which is a fair reflection. But the flip side of that is, like Scotty's point is, they don't want to play that.
No,
minutes.
but if you have to,
if I have to, I prefer the Staggies to go to get some points out of that rather than just the one. But if they fought out that 20 minutes, didn't get a try each, beating the shit out of each other, then they've got to turn around So I don't know. I'd maybe rather 10 minutes golden try rather than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I think I might have chucked it out. Think it was extra time. It might just be 10 minutes. But
we'll get some clarity on that. We'll get some clarity.
Yeah, we need clarity.
So final thoughts there. 10 minutes golden try would be my, and if no, split the points. Right, 2 more headlines to go before we rip into the Stagos start to the season. Early chat that South Africa may be joining the Pro 14, the Irish comp, those the Stormers, Sharks, etc. If it was to resume normally next year and without the South African teams, do you think, what sort of effect would that have? I know there's a lot of financial benefits, but in terms of quality, interest for you guys as New Zealand-based fans, like, do you think it'll be a big loss? Jeremy, we'll start with you, mate.
From like a fan and a viewer, I don't watch any games in South Africa unless it would be the odd occasion when you're coming home from town and you're watching like the Landers play. You watch the Landers play the Bulls or something at Loftus. You know, like for me, I couldn't really care less that they're going to understand there's economic ramifications, but for myself as a fan, I don't mind when those teams come over here and play on a Friday night, Saturday night, that sort of thing, and you get to watch, you know, guys like, I don't know, good players like Kerwin Bosch and that sort of thing play. But for me, as a fan, I don't really care what's watching those games. Yeah, fair. I might be quite narrow-minded, but I just don't.
Yeah. Scotty is a bit more of a rugby purist than Jeremy. What are your?
To be fair, I'm completely aligned there. I think the last time I properly got up to watch a South African game of Super Rugby, probably when I was about 8 years old, when the Highlanders were in the semi-final. So that's
99, 98.
Yeah, it could have been 99. Can't quite remember, but that I do remember. That was probably the last time I had a genuine interest. Like I said, it's probably the only other time you're watching a 3 a.m. game is when you've come home from town, or in town if they've got it on the TV.
Yeah.
So
and the Octa used to be good for it, Boy.
So I applied it like I said, financially, obviously there'll be a hit there, but I think if they can get the comp right here in terms of the way it looks, the way it runs, bit of tribalism, I don't think it'll be a big loss.
I don't think, just from a fan, I don't think it's a big loss either. It's quite interesting how polarising it is. Leading up to a Highlanders versus Sharks game in Durban, how we're the super underdogs, but then when we've got the Sharks at Forsyth Bar, we should be the favourites. They travel like a bag of shit, the South African
But
teams.
it's a fucking big journey.
100%.
Halfway around the world, mate.
Yeah.
So I think that's another reason it doesn't make sense is because you have to travel that far as either side. It's not like going to Aussie. So.
You listen to the boys after the Super Rugby Aotearoa, sort of, I think Aaron Smith's been quite vocal about how tough that comp is week in, week out, those derbies. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to know how hard it is compared to normal Super, where you got the easier games, but that travel factor.
Yeah, it's
the South Africans. Different hard, fatigue, like mentally, probably harder than I don't know.
Yeah, I think the travel's probably the biggest part when you're going. Like, obviously, those teams are hard, like especially the African teams, but but I think the travel, but that's why
South Africa.
That's why
not Japan or Argentina either.
That's why those New Zealand games were so good because no one had to travel anywhere. They were sleeping in their own bed, fresh.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, last interesting little debate. I don't know if you guys listened to Dean and Kemp's Bloke in a Bar. He's NRL, used to play for the Bats, but mostly for the Broncos. So he brought up a point just for debate. It's quite interesting when you think about it. If rugby league wasn't a sport in Australia, they had the AFL, whatever, but no rugby league. would the Wallabies be on par with the All Blacks? A lot to think about there. I'll go with you, Jeremy, first. Your thoughts there?
It's an interesting question. I guess where you can compare it to is South Africa. If you were looking at a model, South Africa and New Zealand probably. With South Africa, all their top tier talents getting funneled into rugby. So I guess if you look at that, do they dominate world sport or world rugby? Sorry, and you'd say maybe every 8 years they do, they'll win a World Cup. But I don't think they would. I think they'd have better players now. If you look in the NRL, they've got Angus Crichton, Cam Murray, just two of the guys who, I guess, Ponga, but he'd probably play for Kiwis. I don't think they would dominate it. I think that would be better. I think the Super Rugby competition would be better, but I don't think they would be quote unquote dominant because, it's pretty hard for, I guess, teams to be that dominant for that a long period of time in the international rugby scene.
Yeah. Can't argue with that. Scotty, any thoughts there, mate?
Yeah, pretty much same as. I think they're Super Rugby teams. You'd be able to justify 5, I reckon.
Yeah,
5 good teams. I think their talent pool under their Wallabies best guys would be a huge amount deeper. But like I says, I don't know if they'd have, the actual still have those real good players.
Yeah, I think the examples that Deanan used were sort of imagine Inglis, Thurston, just growing up through rugby, and he named a lot of backs. I don't know if they've got the.
Yeah, I was going to say where their forwards are.
Yeah, I don't. Again, like props are so understated in a successful rugby team. They're not producing just props that just want to carry and clean rucks. Like
their starting tight head was played as a New Zealander who played in Auckland.
Yeah. They're the biggest guy in rugby league is sort of your David Clemmers and that, but they're sort of back rowers at best in Union. So it's all good having flashy backs, but I think they'd need to somehow produce the better type 5. Yeah. It'd be interesting anyway. It'd be fucking good to see Thurston and that have a crack at Union. Right, we'll move into the meaty part, I guess. There's a bit of meat already, but Staggies. As mentioned at the start of the pod, fucking good start from the boys. First up win against Hawke's Bay, gutsy in the wet, held out at the end, showed a bit of determination. Where in previous years they may have conceded, and then obviously last week, fucking close loss to Bay of Plenty, and I guess the attitude online being quite separated from being over here. I could tell just from the fans that they were gutted that they lost. Whereas I think last year or the year before, they might have just been stoked that you guys were within sort of bonus point. So there's a shift in attitude there that's quite noticeable. From a fan's perspective, just to add on to what I say there, how are you feeling?
Yeah, it's really, I guess we've touched on it a little bit earlier, is that there has been a shift in mindset. And I guess it did start with that first game. I guess going back sort of just previously to that, seeing the performance against Otago, it was completely different to that Hawke's Bay performance in terms of that performance reminded me of how Southland in like the early 2010s sort of played, where don't give up many points, make it really hard for the opposition, just grind teams down. And I think that's how Southland have never been really a flashy side, and to see a team that is willing to bar up, actually have some pride in their line and do what they have to win is most pleasing for a fan. And I guess results reflect that, whereas I think there's been, and the average points in every game has been 60 points, I think. And in the Southland games, there hasn't been 60 points combined. So I guess that's showing how much pride Southland are putting in their defence. And I mean, I think the attack will come, but to see that as being like a foundation, being really good defensively, has been unreal as a fan. It makes me get excited to watch them. So yeah, no, I'm loving it as a fan. It would have been obviously nice to win, but can't fault any effort.
Yeah, nice, mate. Well put. Totally agree with everything there. You're so fizzed up that you're going to get to the first home game. So Scotty, as a player, mate, what's you're right on finger on the pulse in the camp. How's morale? Obviously right now, but also compared to previous seasons.
No, morale's pretty good to be fair, boy. It's like that first one was huge for the belief and the mindset. Like every team, there's a lot of talking goes on before the season about what you want to do and how you want to do it. So to go out there and grind it out on a freaking atrocious day against Hawke's Bay was a great way to start. And like I said, like it was just built on a bit of ticker on D. Like I think even like last week, like we still haven't quite clicked on attack. We've had a couple of good moments, especially last week. We did a couple of nice things, but we still haven't quite found ourselves on attack. So hopefully this week, we get a dry deck. I know, I guess there's probably a perception that on a dry deck we could be under the pump a bit, but I actually think if we get a dry day, I'd like to see what we can do because I think we've got some pretty skillful forwards and a couple of guys in the backs that can hopefully like light it up one-on-one situations. That's not me, but hopefully a couple of guys that can spark things up. So it'll be good. Forecast is looking all right.
Was it pretty dry up in Rotorua though? It looked pretty good on TV.
It wasn't until about the 5 minute mark then it started raining. Fuck. So not sure if they mentioned that on the telly. Like not hard rain, but enough to make the ball pretty wet. So like we warmed up, it was dry as boys ripping it through the hand, but then sort of probably 5 minutes in, the rain sort of arrived. So and then it sort of went away, but it obviously at night
it's already done damage.
Done the damage. Wet ball as a 9, it's not the easiest. So hoping for a dry ball against these Harbour boys on Setchi.
Yeah, nice.
You guys would have been pretty happy. I don't know if you saw Sam Kane's interview after the game, and he was basically talking Southland up, saying, I think they were kind of getting out of him, did you guys not really turn up today sort of thing? But it's like, no, all credit to Southland. They actually fronted and put in a hell of a performance and, deserve to be in it again. That must give, I guess, you guys validation in the camp that you are on the right track. Those sort of comments from the All Blacks skip.
Yeah, I guess it does. We had I don't know if you called it an after match, but Bay of Plenty came in the changing shed afterwards. Sam Kane said pretty similar words. I didn't see what he said on TV, but Tony Lambourne sort of echoed that. So yeah, I guess you'd say it is validation, like especially for the boys that are, I guess, new to the team and that, or newer to the team. So yeah, it shows that we can compete against, more than compete against a team with pretty good credentials.
They lost 2 games last year or 3 games last year, and they're returning a pretty similar side. So yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and like you said, like mindset, like boys were pretty disappointed we didn't score at the end there and win that game. So yeah, we've had a good week of training this week. Bit of fizz. So obviously with that, add in the fact that hopefully we'll get a couple of people through the gate, banging on the terrace signs. I think it's all the Cabbage Army. The
Cabbage Army will be out in full force, mate. Actually, Joey Wheeler was down at training on Thursday, doing a wee thing for Sky on the great man himself, Cabbage. So stay tuned for that. I'm guessing they'll play that pre-game on Saturday. So if you're not at the ground, make sure you tune into that. Sure,
Sky put together some pretty good tributes in the past. I remember Brad Thorne's one was spine tingling. So yeah, looking forward to this one.
Huge.
Eyes, as a fan, mate, who have you been impressed with? We're only 2 games in, but is there any fellas that have just fucking fronted? And
I think Tatey's been really good so far, and he's got through a lot of work. Manaki, obviously coming back from the Highlanders, you kind of expect his game to go to the next level, and I think it does. He has, especially playing that north-south, and he's outstanding. It's kind of the guys you expect to be leading from the front, and that's good, like Lambourne as well, with the captain's armband going forward. I think Morby's been pretty good as well. Amanaki and Nicole coming down. I think we talked about previously, you want guys coming in from outside the province to be, some of your better players, and I think from the glimpses he's seen, obviously he didn't get too much of an opportunity against Hawke's Bay, but he's been pretty...
He was good, wasn't he?
Pretty impressive.
I see I see there's no backlash on social media about Nickel not playing any club rugby down here.
No, it's amazing when it turns out that
Really?
these guys are pretty handy.
Oh,
So-
hell.
So no, that's good. And seeing, well, I'll go back to that Hawke's Bay game, set piece in pretty challenging conditions, and then obviously getting that scrum penalty at the end is well. There's no real surprise that forward pack's pretty good. There's five guys who played super footy at some stage. So I think it's 5. So
Yeah.
we've got a forward pack that can compete with anyone. So
Yeah,
I've been pretty impressed with those guys.
Yeah, and like our line out was probably the boys a bit disappointed with the way the line out went against Bay of Plenty after being pretty good against Hawke's Bay. So, no, the boys have been working hard on fixing that up for this week. But yeah, like our scrum, like to push Bay of Plenty off the ball with 7 men, it's a hell of an effort. So,
Definitely.
it's good stuff.
Scotty, anyone in camp, I guess, that maybe doesn't show up on TV or doesn't get the game time, but are training the house down that you're sort of excited about?
That's a tough one, mate. The boys, I think one added thing that obviously people only see 80 minutes on a Saturday or Friday. That's all they see. But I think one difference this season is the guys, especially on a Thursday training, the guys who aren't in the 23 are actually bringing a bit of fizz to the training. Like
Going live.
we're pretty much going live. Like we're pretty much trying to play like a game or as close to a game as you can for say 10 to 15 minutes. So, and I think in the past, like the guys are sort of like, they're not in the team, so they just click off or they switch off. Whereas, this year there's a lot of those guys, your Doofies, Jacob Coughlin, who's been in at training, Big Leo was trucking the ball up hard today. Like actually,
That would
like
have been fun.
it actually like it was fun to be fair. But I didn't run down my channel and cross. But no, it's it makes a big difference. Like puts the start, gives the starters a bit more like proper opposition, realistic opposition.
Yeah.
So I think that's lifted us a bit. And like obviously I thought Ranieta. Maris man, or came to Maris this year. I thought he had quite a good first half last week. And unfortunately for him, he's hurt his shoulder. I guess a silver lining for old Liam, friend of the pod, gets his opportunity this week. Hell Lux gets his big opportunity. So I'm sure when Crowley runs out of steam, it'll be good to see Liam, get on the field. And, it's going to be when Ruddy...
Hopefully he brings his try-scoring prowess to the next level. Top form for Woodies.
Tady's just taking them all at present, mate. But,
sure.
But yeah, Howley, and when Ranieta comes back, it's going to be a hell of a fight for that 9 jumper, to be fair.
What did Tady say to the ref? Like, were you close to that?
Yeah, I was right there.
If you don't want to quote him, that's fine. But was it a yellow card?
Oh,
yes, no, will do. I think that'll say enough.
To be fair, I didn't blatantly think it was a yellow card. I thought like it was one of those ones where it's sort of because there's no crowd as well. Like you could just hear it.
You can hear it clear.
Whether it was a yellow card, like we'd considered a few penalties. There'd already been a little bit of lip towards him.
From Tady?
He could have been involved. So, fuck on. Yeah. It was tough at the time, but yeah, it's what it is.
This is another little tangent just from there. I know Southland, like Prem Rugby, you get to know the refs a bit. Is that the same at the next level? Is there a bit of a scouting report on who the referee is? Like,
there is
you can give this guy a bit of banter, this guy just shut it.
The coaches do quite a bit of work around that, and like I think they have like, I don't know exactly, but I think they have like Zoom meetings or whatever.
Yeah. With
the referees, bosses, and then they know sort of how each ref works. Analyst Regan Bennett, who's our analyst, like I'm sure he'll do stuff around the referee. So as players, we're aware of it. Like this week we got James Munro from Canterbury, who's generally usually pretty good. Like, or we, in our eyes, is generally all right. So I guess you sort of watch the other games during the season. You sort of work out, how they operate, how they are to talk to, etc.
Like what they're more particular on, like they're more particular on.
Yeah, breakdown, like
sides,
like whether they let the Jackler have it a lot of the time, or whether they penalise the defending team a lot for offside. It's all that sort of shit.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I know Dan Wainga got a bit of heat for that maul at the end, which was a bit of a howler, but I actually enjoyed how he refereed the 50-50 ball to ground. Sort of, he just let everything go, which was quite good. I think NRL.
He used to play.
Yeah, he was a
Didn't he?
10 for
He
Hawke's
played-
Bay, I think. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
played-
he might have played for Bob.
He played for Bob,
yeah.
mate.
And a bit for North
Oh.
Otago, I think.
No comment.
Oh yeah.
I think he played Heartland too. Yeah, but yeah, I enjoyed that. I think NRL's taken a step. We've talked about that earlier, so we won't go into it. But in terms
Yeah.
of speeding up play, and I feel like if every ball to ground that's 50-50 gets pulled back for a scrum, it's going to hurt the game. So apart from
Well-
the maul, I thought he did really well with that.
If the right team ends up with the ball, then what's the point of blowing it up?
Yeah.
You know, like just let it go.
true.
And it's not you're not being disadvantaged. I
Yeah.
don't see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So another thing that this weekend, just on the team list, we talked about Liam. The rest of it sort of picks itself. Ray News back at 12.
Is
Was he
Jay
benched?
injured?
I understand Jay's been sick, so he hasn't really been at training all week. So there's been a bit of a flu go around the team, to be fair, which in this day and age isn't ideal. So and we had to don the masks on our trip away on the weekend. So wearing the mask, could have either prevented more or maybe.
Ray was supposed to start round 1 though, right? He was named.
Correct.
And
So
then
he
late
was
withdrawal.
so he was sick round 1. He was meant to start, pulled out. Jay come in, played well, and then they went with Jay again last week. Ray come onto the bench. So
I like that. I think it's a good coaching style. Like
Yeah, absolutely.
reward Jay for a good effort rather than just bringing the star straight back in.
So obviously Jay being out gives Tavita Latu opportunity, listener of the pod. So
oh yeah,
great man.
Great man. Another crack for him. So it's from a Maris perspective, it's good stuff. But yeah, Ray Na'u back in the 12 jumper. I'm sure he'll be itching to wear the 12 jumper, and I'm sure he'll be looking forward to putting on a good showing. Like as we previewed, he's one guy who hopefully, he's definitely good enough to make the step to super. But hopefully he can show it starting this week.
Is he looking at staying south for a while? And I mean, a while as in next year at least.
Oh, I'm not sure, mate. Not sure.
That'd be just thinking with Maris cap on again. That'd be fucking handy for the
Maris.
centenary.
So we can go back to Woodlands.
Oh, what?
Oh, sorry, mate.
Oh, you're talking about Tavita.
Yeah.
Tavita, yes.
Oh,
I thought you were talking about some sort of
Ray.
coup there. Ray No coming
No.
Tavita, hopefully sticks around. Him and Ranieta.
yeah.
If Ray wants to come, then he can come. Jeez, the boys got their wires crossed there. Right, we'll just finish. Good chat there about the Staggies. We won't spend too long on Pred Champ. Only 2 rounds in. The All Blacks are leaving, so it's probably going to mix up again. But early signs: Tasman, Waikato, Taranaki. They're only 3 unbeaten teams. I feel like Tasman not so much of a shock. Taranaki not that much of a shock either. I guess the Shield was a bit of a boil over, but when you can run out,
Great game.
Yeah, when you can run out a
Fuck,
couple
it's
of
a good game.
Barretts, I don't think that you can really say it's an upset. Taranaki Championship. I think it's probably one of those times where the format gets shown up a bit. Like they probably, if they're in the Premiership, would be in that conversation to win the whole thing.
Yeah,
Where in reality, they can only.
The whole thing. But although Bay of Plenty last year, they were probably good, the second or third best team in the comp last year.
Yeah.
So it's obvious.
Just swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, swings and roundabouts. Like Taranaki, had their struggles last year on and off the field, and this year, hot start, got the Barretts, obviously lose them, but still got a pretty handy outfit. So yeah, they're the early front runners in the championship. Even like Hawke's Bay, they struggled, come down, lost to us, and then they pumped Counties back at home on a nice day. So, and Counties were in the premiership last year. They played Tasman, Hawke's Bay first up, 0-2. It's tough. It's a tough sort of gig. So I think the championship's shit's pretty even, to be fair.
I think
agree.
absolutely. I think if you're looking at it with a the Southland cap on. Like, there's no reason why they can't make the semi-finals, judging on what we've seen the first few rounds and taking out the All Blacks who are in the. I know there's not as many as there is in the Premiership, but it's just, I guess, from a point of view that the All Blacks were available to play. It was actually quite good to see All Blacks playing in the. I know it's a throwback to probably 15 years ago where it was a lot more prevalent, but it's just good to see like best players in New Zealand playing for their teams, like seeing the Barretts line up. And I know Perenara, as much of a pain in the ass as he looks on the field, like him lining up for Wellington, he looks like Artie Severe, look like they actually give a fuck for their promise as well. Like it's pretty cool as a fan.
I think the standard's gone up too, which has been like, I know even playing Bay of Plenty, like, I think they only had Sam Cane, but like the intensity of that game, only plus a few super players, but no, like that definitely intensity was definitely up there. Like, wasn't the fastest game in the world, but yeah.
Well, I guess the thing is as well for guys who may or may not make Super Rugby in their career, playing against someone like Sam Cane will be as big a yardstick as they get in their career, and the opportunity to challenge themselves against some of the best players in the world. That'll get you up for games, and that will, I guess, lead to increased standard of play. So I think that's another thing it's a bonus.
Big time.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting in that report for Super Rugby. The report sort of come to the conclusion that there wasn't enough depth for a sixth New Zealand team, which I find hard to believe.
I think it's bullshit.
Yeah, looking at the 14 quality teams that you can roll out in the Mitre 10 Cup, sorry.
Yeah, just quickly on that, one thing I found interesting was either that person or one of the key people on that did that review is the Blues chairman. Okay. So I found I found that to be pretty conflicted, like him coming out saying, especially when it was around like they've been talking about that second Pacific team in Auckland. Like I just found that to be pretty conflicting. Like this is him saying that like that we can't sustain a sixth team. Is that because the Blues may lose a few of those players to that team? Like
100%. That's why.
Yeah.
So yeah, like always got to look at what angle someone's coming from. So,
yeah, especially in a situation like that.
But anyway, is what it is.
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting too. I didn't know that. Oh well.
Stumped you, mate. That's completely stumped you.
On that note, I don't think there's much else to say, fellas. I think it'll be interesting to see how the next few rounds play out without those All Blacks. I wonder if those teams that have played against your Taranakis and your Waikatos and that and lost might start finding their feet again.
Just quickly, I'm sure, Big Jim Damien McKenzie wouldn't have played at Rugby Park. He would have been chomping at the bit to get down to Steak Park.
Homecoming, yeah, it would have been quite nice to see him down there. To be fair, he's played pretty well.
Oh mate,
considering
on fire.
He's been, you put him and I guess Leonard Brown in that Waikato team, it just goes to another level because they haven't been travelling too well the last few seasons. But it would have been pretty nice to see him at Rugby Park. But unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get a wish there.
No. Anyway.
Yeah.
Right. We'll sign off with your thoughts, Jeremy, on a bit of a score prediction. Southland Harbour.
Yeah.
What are you going for, mate?
I'm going to go 23-18 Southland. Yeah. And I'll just implore the people, anyone who listens to this, get down to Rugby Park and get involved. Get a few spates into you and really hook into that Harbour team.
Yeah.
Really get the boys home.
Absolutely.
Yeah, can't argue with that. I think keep Dylan Hunt off the ball and keep Stevenson out wide.
Yeah, he's the number one target this week, mate.
Hopefully he doesn't get off the plane in terms of eventually and boys just don't have to worry about him.
Yeah, nice bit of sideways rain to greet them on the plane tomorrow would be nice.
Yeah.
Just set the tone.
Right, Scotty, good luck, mate.
Well, Brycey, what's your prediction on the Steggies?
I think Rugby Park. After Hawke's Bay, if you can turn that back into one of those sort of almost like your Gore Showgrounds, where other teams they just don't want to go there. Like they should win, but they don't, and they know they're in for a shit fight.
Sounds like
So,
Maris
yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Staggy's chances. I think Harbour 0-2.
Yeah.
Down on confidence.
It's a
Probably still in some sort of
must-win game
lockdown.
for them, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of
Tough road trip.
their season, it's must-win, really. Like we roll them on Saturday.
Yeah.
You'd pretty much give them the relegation stick now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it pretty tough.
Considering they haven't yet played Wellington, Auckland, Canterbury, or a couple other
Yeah.
decent
Well, they played
outfits.
Canterbury first up. Oh, no, that was no, they played.
Sorry,
Canterbury
they
first
have
up.
played Canterbury. Yeah, sorry, yeah, couple
Tasman.
other teams. Tasman.
Yeah, I think Southland as a team are better, but then Harbour do have those 2 or 3 superstars. So if I think Southland keep them quiet, happy days. All right, that's us, boys.